Establishing a strong brand identity is essential for entrepreneurs entering or excelling in the small business arena. The seemingly infinite competition out there, having a distinct image and message is key to standing out in the crowd. But where do you start? More importantly, what specific strategies can you utilize to maximize your success and minimize your risk? If you're an entrepreneur or plan to be one soon, this video is a must watch. Hello everyone and welcome back. As entrepreneurs, we have to wear many different hats to bring new business to life. That's why I can't necessarily blame you if you view branding as a huge waste of time and money. But as with most things, a little investment up front can pay off big down the line. In fact, nowadays, your ability to brand can significantly impact your success even in the short term. Not to mention, a great brand can motivate potential customers to learn more, while encouraging existing customers to become advocates of your business. So how do we make sure this happens? I have a few tips for you. Tip number 1, target a specific niche. When you're just getting started in business, making no money and struggling to justify why you became an entrepreneur in the first place, it almost makes sense to cast a wide net to attract as many customers as possible. However, doing this makes it virtually impossible for your ideal customer to find you. Instead, modern branding strategies dictates that you narrow your audience to a specific niche. Not only will this save you on advertising dollars later on, but it's much easier to target your efforts. For example, the niche of this channel is to help creative entrepreneurs level up. Tip number 2, be as consistent as possible. Great brands are very consistent. That means they find what works, who it works for, and they stick with it. Did you know Nike has been using the Just Do It slogan since?
People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave them in my locker.
1988? Alright, I won't lie to you. I didn't know that until a few moments ago. But then it had me ask myself, why wouldn't they? It's nearly as recognizable as their logo and perfectly encapsulates the value their products provide to their highly athletic audience. But this goes far beyond just mega brands. You can create the same familiarity by making sure all your communications have the same feel or that all your products have a similar look. Even influencers can use the same sign-off or greeting to create a sense of consistency that consumers just latch onto. For example, on my channel, when the video is done, I say this: don't miss out on any future game-changing insights. Subscribe now. Until next time, let's grow together. Tip number 3, embrace honesty. The days of hiring Don Draper to lie your company to success.
The greatest thing you have working for you is not the photo you take or the picture you paint. It's the imagination of the consumer.
Are long gone. Modern consumers don't just demand honesty, they also know how to identify when they aren't getting it. If you're planning on appealing to a wider audience by pretending to support causes you don't support or saying you'll do things that you don't plan to do, you're going to have problems. But don't worry, today's consumer also loves the little guy. If you're a single mom with a full-time job who in her free time is following her dreams as an entrepreneur, say so. To the right audience, that's not only a reason to buy, but at times a reason to pay more. Tip number 4, maximize awareness. Branding and marketing aren't the same things, but they do accomplish many of the same goals. So if you thought you were going to get through this video without me talking about the M word, I'm about to break your heart. But don't worry, modern marketing is not only affordable, but it's also easier than ever before. You just need to create a strong online presence. By this, I mean focusing your money on systems to automate your process, creating valuable content, and search engine optimization for your content. Basically, you want to ensure that anyone who wants to find your brand can find it as easily as possible without stumbling across your competitors by accident. So post every day. The rewards could pay for your efforts many times over. Tip number 5, get feedback, but listen to it. The hardest thing about building something great is presenting it to other people. Take it from me, I completely understand how difficult it can be to hear criticism.
I can't take it anymore! I just want to die!
even when it's constructive. However, being an entrepreneur not only means listening to criticism, but actively seeking it out. That means asking people what they think of your logo, tagline, website, and products. I don't just mean your friends. You'll also have to engage with your target audience and actually invite their feedback. Remember, these are the people who are most likely to make or break your business. You have to listen to them. Tip number 6, know when to outsource or delegate. The best thing about wearing so many hats as an entrepreneur is that you can take them off as you become more successful. As your brand grows, it's perfectly acceptable to take off your brand hat and get some input from a professional. Yes, this will cost some money. However, if you're at the point where you're considering professional advice, you should have a decent amount of money coming in. And while it's difficult to put someone else in the driver's seat of your business's image, it's the only thing that's going to help you stop working and start enjoying what you built. Trust me, embracing the power of branding can take your small business from good to amazing. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't miss out on any future game-changing insights. Subscribe now. Until next time, let's grow together. Content is king, and you know what? It always has been. Whether it's information, opinion, or entertainment, we humans devour content in all forms of media. Luckily, we create content with roughly the same enthusiasm, but for our message to reach as many people as possible, we need to make deliberate choices. In this video, we'll talk about 8 ways we can stand out as a creative entrepreneur, no matter what your niche is. Hello everyone, my name is Darryl Omar, problem solver.
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
Good, we got one.
So I heard. May I come in?
Yeah, please do.
Creative brand strategist, dad, and entrepreneur. Content creation is one of the primary building blocks of any marketing initiative. Likewise, it's key to entrepreneurs and influencers who want to establish themselves in an entertainment field that becomes more and more crowded every day. On a basic level, all you need to do to create successful content is to send a message that resonates with a specific audience. It sounds simple, but it's actually incredibly difficult. As we mentioned, there's millions of others trying to do the same thing. The ones that climb to the top of the heap and get the most engagement, they do this by following a playbook. And they follow these steps actually that I'm about to show you. So step number 1, plug into your industry. Your industry is whatever you create content about. So your audience, which we'll talk about next, are generally people who are involved with, interested in, or entertained by that industry in some way. So if you want to speak to them, you need to be plugged in. Think about this. ESPN only exists because they're analysts and commentators who know more about the sports than the fans. That's what makes them influential. So you need to be aware of everything in your industry if you want to do the same. So follow news sites, read trades, and keep up to pace with industry leaders so you can provide useful information to your audience. Tip number 2, study this said audience. Speaking of audience, do you know who they are? I asked this because when I started out, I didn't know who my audience was. I just know I had a skill set and I need to make money.
Look what I found in my pocket! Look! A year's salary right here! What I call them? Fun coupons!
So I threw out a wide net, and whoever was willing to pay me for that skill set became my audience and my client. In hindsight, not the proper way of doing business, but I know a lot of entrepreneurs who started the same way. Let's get out of the red and head to the green. So I have a question for you. Have you built a template of your perfect ideal buyer, listener, or fan? And if not, you could be wasting your time and energy putting content in front of people who could ultimately care less about it. The solution is to do research on the people who engage with you most. People that are liking your content, sharing your content, engaging with it. Those are the people you should be trying to engage with. So figure out their age, gender, location, income, and other details, no matter how insignificant. Soon patterns will appear and you'll be able to tailor your content to that specific audience without even much thought. 3, create on schedule. There's a reason why TV shows run on the same day each week and magazines are published the same time each month. People want to consume their content with a certain amount of regularity. When content isn't released on a familiar basis, people lose interest quickly. And if they lose interest, trust me, they're going to go and find this content somewhere else. When they're daily, weekly, or monthly, the viewer can build expectations for the new content. Even those of us who make content for a living tend to have a hard time doing so with any regularity. By creating a schedule, you're creating accountability as well. Make your voice unique. I can't harp on this enough. Many of us spend our lives trying to fit in. The irony, of course, is that the most successful creators are those who stand out in some way. When making content, put yourself in the shoe of the viewer. Won't you be tired of hearing the same takes on a topic from different people providing the same views? Your viewer wants to hear differing opinions, unique points of view, and comments that make them say, wow, I never thought of it that way. And though there can be some success to be had blending in with the majority, you don't want to come across as the person that just keeps to themselves. But standing out as a content creator means developing and owning your voice, personality, and reputation. Know how to measure your success. In the business world, we have what are known as KPIs, or key performance indicators. This is how we measure how well an initiative, policy, or product is doing. In marketing, it's how we determine if the type of content we released is performing better, worse, or on par with other content. Influencers can evaluate this easily, as their KPIs are generally things such as likes, shares, and views. So I have a question for you again. Have you ever sat down and brainstormed what KPIs for your content would look like? If not, you could be missing out on a wealth of valuable information. Tip number 6, and this one is tough for me because I can be an introvert at times. Network, network, network. I always get invited to these network events that I just never go to because I end up going, having a drink, standing in a corner, or I go in and speaking to somebody and it's just not the right connection. I'm thinking I wasted my time. But perhaps one of the biggest truths in the world can be found in the phrase, it's not what you do, it's who you know. This is why it's important to network. After all, one of the best ways to get more exposure is to leverage other creators' audiences in one way or another. Maybe you do a guest blog, maybe you join in a podcast. Perhaps you decide to collaborate with someone who sells a product similar to yours. In the end, every handshake, virtual or otherwise, has endless potential. Tip number 7, be solution oriented. The world loves problem solvers, even if they are merely considering how a problem might be solved.
Wanna get down on this?
Either way, if you're going to establish a link with your audience, you need to provide them with something useful. So after you identify your audience, try to figure out what their needs are. If you can provide some insight or even merely point them in the right direction, they'll see you as an authority and latch on to your content. Tip number 8, ask questions. If you look at some of the biggest content creators in realms like podcasting and journalism, they tend to be very question oriented. That is, they like to ask questions and then find the answers. They also like to question the status quo. So Joe Rogan, for instance, has made an entire career on this one strategy. Just remember to apply critical thinking to your discussion. What I want from you now is to go out there and unleash your content creation potential with these 8 expert tips. Don't miss out on any future game-changing insights. Subscribe now. Until next time, let's grow together. All procrastinate from time to time. You write something on your to-do list for today but decide to put it off until later in the morning. When that time comes, you push it to later after lunch. Before long, the day has passed without you ever accomplishing your task. Procrastination is when an individual postpones or delays their intended course of action. Though we often think of this in terms of the scenario outlined above, it can actually take a lot of different forms. For instance, you might put off important decisions, delay getting started on personal projects, or even engaging in hobbies you enjoy. This means that a workaholic who never takes time for themselves is just as much a procrastinator as those who are on social media all day instead of working on their goals. If you're scratching your head saying, I never thought of it like that before, then guess what? We're getting somewhere. You see, we often think of procrastination as a personal inconvenience or self-sabotage. This is correct, but it goes far beyond forcing us to catch up on Friday or working over the weekend. For instance, procrastination can negatively affect our productivity, relationships, and overall well-being. When tasks are left unfinished, it can cause stress, anxiety, and a sense of guilt or shame. This guilt can manifest into an actual clinical depression, which only makes things worse. Of course, it's a self-improvement channel, so let's not forget about how procrastination can contribute to missed opportunities, decreased motivation, and of course, lower self-esteem. Fortunately, there's a solution to all of this, but it isn't always easy to face. You see, the hard truth about procrastination is that the only way you'll ever get rid of it is to bear down and do some reflection and figure out why you're procrastinating in the first place. Once you do that, you'll have to apply the right remedy and follow it through. We don't always like to hold the mirror up to ourselves, but it's sometimes the only way to move forward. Fortunately, I'm here to help by providing some common examples to get you started on this anti-procrastination journey. As we go through each of these, Take a little bit of time to ask yourself, is that me? If the answer is yes, try to implement the solution I provide. You never know, this could be the key to banishing procrastination forever. So ask yourself these questions. Question number 1, do I really know what comes next? If you don't know what will come after a particular project, you might procrastinate due to fear. To help yourself overcome this, write down the next action you will take once you finish the current task. This can allow you to see how it fits into the larger scheme of things. Question number 2, do I know what I can sacrifice? If you plan a project without considering the time it will take, you can quickly and easily get overwhelmed. To avoid this, write down everything you spend time on and decide what you can give up in the pursuit of this next task. This form of time management can make you feel more in control and prevent analysis paralysis. 3, do I care about the goal? If you're not motivated to accomplish a task, you might benefit from reminding yourself why it's important. If you determine it needs to be done and you're the person to do it, set a time limit and reward yourself after completing each section. However, if you discover it's not worth your time, delete or delegate it. Do I have a workable schedule? Don't rely on motivation or wait for free time to start a task. Instead, block out specific time slots for each project. Again, this can make you feel like you're running the project rather than the project running you. This will give you back that feel of control and confidence. 5, does the task make me feel uncomfortable? If a task is uncomfortable or unpleasant in some way, the best remedy is to schedule it for the first thing in the morning. This will give you a chance to get started before you talk yourself out of it. For instance, working out for me, if I don't do it the first thing as soon as I get up, it never gets done. It gets pushed back to the end of the day. I do a lackluster workout and it just feels like it was a waste of time. 6, does the task feel like a waste of my time? Consider whether a project is truly worth your time and skills. If it's not unique to you, delegate it to someone else. If you don't have the ability to delegate, consider breaking up into smaller pieces, more manageable portions. As you accomplish each one, provide yourself with a little reward. 7, am I really qualified to do this task? If a task feels beyond your skill level, ask someone with more experience. I know this can be tough, but nothing is worse than turning in a project that's been done poorly or even late. If you don't have the option to seek help, set a time to learn and increase your qualification. Am I intimidated by the size and extent of the task? Well, you know it. The bigger the project, the more difficult it can be to start. Before you know it, you're nearly out of time and faced with tackling a massive job. The solution is to cut it into more manageable bites. Only you don't just break the project down into steps, you should also research how long each one will take. This will give you an estimate of the actual time involved. 9, would some accountability help? Okay, this is a big one for those of us who are self-employed or own our own business. You see, while it's great to be your own boss, we aren't also good bosses to ourselves. For instance, we might not hold ourselves to the same standards a client or manager would, allowing for procrastination. The solution here is to find a way to introduce some accountability to our life. Trust me, things will change really quickly once you do. Procrastination doesn't have to hold you back forever. If you can figure it out or figure out why you procrastinate, you can apply the right solution and get yourself back on track. What is branding and why is it important to your business? There are a billion different ways to make money out there. However, those that want to make money consistently, whether as a business owner, influencer, or entrepreneur, will eventually encounter the concept of branding. I'm positive you heard this term before, but what exactly is it? More importantly, why is it so important to your business? Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where my main goal is to empower creative entrepreneurs. If you think branding is something only billion-dollar companies like Nike and Apple need to think about, think again. In 2023, branding is a necessary step in building, running, maintaining any business or money-making endeavor, no matter how small. So even if you're on a shoestring budget or operating on a small scale, you can't ignore the B word, branding. Put simply, branding is the process of creating a strong, positive perception of yourself, your company, or your products. It sounds like a foreign concept, I know, but I can show you a trick to make it make sense instantly. For instance, did you know that you're a brand? Seriously, the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the jokes you tell, those create a perception in people's minds, don't they? It's why you don't go out with like a stain on your shirt and why you avoid driving a car if it had 3 paint jobs and a bumper hanging off. It's why you don't tell jokes that you know will offend people around you. You're trying to cultivate a positive brand around yourself. Though this has always been true of people, branding didn't really become a thing for businesses until the Mad Men era of advertising. If you haven't watched Mad Men, put on a to-do list after you finish watching this video to go check it out. Epic show. As more and more companies began selling the same thing, they needed needed ways to differentiate themselves beyond price or quality. Nike is for stylish, active people who are willing to just do it when confronted with challenges, while Apple is for tech-savvy people that tend to think outside of the traditional box. A brand is more than just the sum of its products, who those products are for, and why those people need to consider purchasing them. So how does this apply to your business in particular? That is, what specifically does embracing a brand allow you to do or do better? 1. It helps you understand your customers. If you're going to communicate effectively with a customer base, you need to know who they are and what they like. Whether you currently provide a product to them or not, you'll have to be able to identify your ideal audience, what motivates them and what attracts them. This in turn will help devise a way to make your business as appealing as possible. This also helps with positioning, which will give you a way to differentiate yourself from other companies offering the same things. In the end, it's much easier to sell to people when you know who they are. 2. It helps craft a persona for yourself. A persona is essentially your personality for your business. It's something you tailor to your ideal customers based on information you gathered about them. What type of language will work best? What tone of voice is appropriate? What sorts of images and words are most likely to get their attention? These are the sort of questions that go into devising a proper persona. Once you answer them and combine those answers with your knowledge of your audience, you properly introduce your business to the people most eager to meet it. 3. It gives you a set of conditions by which to operate. Persona is important to your business, sure. However, it still needs to do something. It needs to do things your audience will like and avoid doing things your audience won't like. You know, like we all have friends that we know won't mesh with other acquaintances. That's why we avoid inviting them to the same events. With branding, you'll be able to create a set of do's and don'ts that will constantly put you in the best light. What are you going to do for your customers? How are you going to do it? How will it be better than your competition? Tell your audience why they should pick you and repeat often. Above all, you should strive to be honest with your brand. Modern consumers consider the brands they use more like friends more than product suppliers. This makes honesty all the more important. 4. It gives you a chance to constantly improve. Branding gives you a way to figure out what your customers want. This in turn allows you to create all things you need for your business, like logos, websites, taglines, and advertisements. If you decide that your audience might respond well to a spokesperson or a mascot, create one. You have an ideal audience, your persona, and your promises. Now you can engage in all sorts of ways that strengthen how these 3 things relate. Of course, as you continue using branding to your advantage, you'll also receive both positive and negative feedback, but that's okay. You can use that information to tweak, refine, and perfect your products, services, and presentation. Again, we brand ourselves in 1,000 different ways each and every single day. Branding your company or online identity is very much the same. And just like how we improve ourselves, paying attention to branding allows you to improve your company in countless ways. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss out on any future game-changing insights. Subscribe now. Until next time, let's grow together. We all know the saying, you have to spend money to make money. It's something we've heard a lot, but here's the thing. It's not necessarily true anymore. You see, thanks to the internet and a number of other genius innovations, there are actually quite a few businesses that you can start with virtually no investment. In this video, I'll go over some of the best ideas I've come across in my own entrepreneurial journey. Hello everyone and welcome back. Whether you're looking for a side hustle or trying to completely change your method of income, starting a business is a very logical step. Not only can you free yourself from having to work for a boss, but you can grow your new endeavor to basically any size, depending on how much time and effort you want to put in. But what sort of businesses are we talking about? Sure, you can start walking dogs tomorrow, which is quite lucrative, but what else is out there? Let's take a look. Number 1, drop shipping. Drop shipping has quite literally blown up in the last couple of years. If you don't know the basics, it's essentially a business model where you sell products online via a website that you create. But here's the thing, you never have to handle the inventory or make the product. You're simply an outlet for third parties. They make and ship the products to the customers, you just handle the selling. The best part, you don't have to pay a cent until after the customer places an order. Once that happens, the product is sent and you get your cut. Keep in mind that you might not see a lot of action immediately, but if you promote yourself right, you can, make a nice income. Number 2, print print-on-demand t-shirt. Graphic tees and other branded products continue to be a huge seller. And thanks to print-on-demand companies, you can create all sorts of unique printed products at zero cost. Like drop shipping, the print company handles all the manufacturing and shipping, so you never need to manage any inventory. Also like drop shipping, you don't have to invest any money until after the buyer makes a purchase. And shirts are just the start. Most print-on-demand companies offer tote bags, phone cases, hats, and many other products. There's a catch though. You need to create the images yourself. But if you're not an artistic type, you can simply go to a site like Fiverr, Upwork, or 99 Designs and find talented artists who will create amazing work for the low. Number 3, write a book. If you're familiar with Amazon's history, you'll know it started out as a big online bookstore. What you might not know is that that tradition has carried over into a multi-million-dollar print-on-demand book service. Literally any author or aspiring author can create an account, upload a book, and start selling to a global audience immediately. There are options such as to sell digital books on Kindle or traditional paperback. Again, these aren't produced until after a customer places an order, so you don't have to worry about any of the hard work. And remember, all sorts of books sell. You could do a cookbook, a photo book, a novel, or even a poetry book if you'd like. No matter your passions or skills, there's an option out there. Number 4, create digital courses. People and businesses alike are consuming digital education content at an incredible rate. From guitar lessons to therapy to business and soft skill enhancement, you only need a webcam and a skill to start making a great income teaching other people to do what you do. There are many outlets that will help you sell your courses, providing they're up to the right quality standards. However, you can also upload them to YouTube and let the ad dollars support your channel. Again, there might be a gap between your start date and your payday, but there's plenty of potential for nice income. And this leads me to this point. Liking the content. If you're enjoying some of the insight that I'm providing, please like, share, subscribe, engage in any manner, good or bad. Anything helps. Number 5, start a podcast. We've all got opinions, but we rarely think of them as being able to earn us money. Well, again, the internet has drastically changed that. There are currently hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there making money via ads, donations on Patreon, or a combination of the two. I need to stress that as with books, you can sit down and talk about anything at all and potentially earn money. And while you probably can't find a microphone for free, you can either borrow one or purchase a basic podcasting mic for under $100. From there, you just need to download some free recording software with basic editing functions and you're ready to rock. Affiliate marketing. One of the primary ways to make money on the internet is through affiliate marketing. This is when you provide a link of products or services and encourage your audience to purchase them. Every time they follow through and buy something, you get a cut. Again, Amazon is a big promoter of affiliate marketing, but hundreds of other businesses do the same. While it's best to already have an existing website and established audience, there are plenty of other no-cost business ideas out there, but these are the ones I feel can put you in the best position to make great money. Whatever you decide at the end of the day, I'll be rooting for your success.